Sometime back in the 1950s, probably in my second year at City College of New York, the school we proud poor kids thought of as the Harvard of the proletariat, journalism turned into something beautiful to me. Perhaps it was seeing my name in the school paper. Perhaps it was learning about the exquisite torture of fitting a headline into its assigned space, or about the symmetry of layout. Somehow, despite our studies, despite the hours spent traveling to Brooklyn to a printer in Williamsburg under the rattling elevated train, the paper always came out twice a week, and it came out loud. My romance with writing for newspapers began in the 6th grade when I saw my name over a story in the class newsletter. That first byline leaped from the page, for it proclaimed that what followed below was official. I was an avid newspaper reader by then, and with this byline I had joined a fraternity of truth-tellers. People would read me to understand something. It was a wonderful responsibility. By the time I got to college, I had accumulated a few journalistic notches, albeit on the high school paper with its twice-a-month feverish activity. But in college, I suddenly joined a newspaper that was an endeavor, a shared, unpredictable, bumpy ride. Journalism consumed me. Every day, on the A train that took me from the streets of East New York, Brooklyn, all the way up to school in Harlem, 48 minutes that gave me a chance to read the Daily News and the New York Times, I searched these papers for their look. I was enchanted by the bylines in the Times: Orville Prescott, Bosley Crowther, Brooks Atkinson, Drew Middleton, Arthur Kroc, Harrison Salisbury. The names had a majesty, of course a waspness, a rock-solid grounding in all that was right with the world. And the news, my other world, the world of the back page Brooks and Jackie, the Bronx Bombers, the Gents, of Dick Young and Ed Sullivan, Danton Walker. A letters to the editor section called The Voice of the People. A centerfold of stark photographs. The paper also looked good. It was a clean tabloid, column rules neatly around the photos, black headlines with lots of white space between them. And then, one day after dropping out of City College for the 3rd or 4th time, thanks to my penchant for eschewing homework in favor of the school paper, there would be more departures, to be sure, before I got my degree. I made my way up to the New York Times. Why not? I had nothing else to do. I wasn't sure how far I ever would get in college. On that day in May 1959, for some reason, the paper actually had 2 openings for copy boys, one in news, one in sports. The man behind the desk doing the hiring asked me only one pertinent question. Was I the editor-in-chief of the CCNY newspaper? I could answer yes, and I was offered the job. But which one? For $38 a week. I had a somewhat daunting image of the newsroom as the world's biggest editorial monster, where one could get lost. Sports, I thought, was a cozier location, where I might more readily show my stuff, my view of the way I thought journalism was headed. I chose sports. Mostly, it was great fun, from May 26, 1959, until the day I retired, January 31, 2000. Along the way, I wrote more than 8,000 stories for the Times, many beyond the sports pages, in the book review, magazine, travel, and living sections. I continued doing pieces for the paper even after officially leaving. At retirement, I became a contract writer. Each of us was comfortable being around the other. It was not college, though, although it was at times what they told you journalism should be, a search for the story, and then writing it in a grand way so that you were happy and the reader was informed.